What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button and hit the subscribe button as well. Many of you all know, back in March, I started a new job, right? And I had been laid off for about 7 months. I started a new job, and the job is a night shift. So due to the fact that we work nights, a lot of us, we try to crack jokes. We try to have conversations to keep each other awake during this night shift. Like, because it's a little rough at times, right? You get a little tired. And so we talk about all different type of stuff. We talk about sports, entertainment, news, all different type of stuff we talk about to keep each other awake. So this, like about 2 weeks ago, we having a conversation about movies that we saw growing up. And for some reason, the movie Lockdown came up, right? It came up in conversation. The 2003 movie Lockdown. For those who don't know, Lockdown is a movie about some guys wrongly being accused of a crime and going to jail. 3 friends. The movie stars Master P, Richard T. Jones. Y'all know Richard T. Jones from The Wood, one of my favorite movies. Y'all know him from Why Did I Get Married? The Shit Starter and Why Did I Get Married? The one that was at the table and aired out everybody's business. If you watch Disney, he was in the movie Full Court Miracle. And also the movie starred DeAndre Bonds. DeAndre Bonds is better known as Stacy from The Wood. We've seen DeAndre Bonds in 3 Strikes. We saw him in Tales from the Hood, etc., right? So anyway, one of my coworkers had never saw the movie. She's a younger woman. She's 25 years old. So when Lockdown came out, she was only 3. And she's like, what is that movie about? And so we started talking about the movie, and we started saying, like, how I don't want to ever watch that movie again because it had one of the most vile grape scenes I've ever heard in my life. Take the G off of grape, and that's what I'm saying. It had one of the most vile, disgusting, like one of the most brutal grape scenes you could ever really see in a movie. Something that you could, it disturbed me. It disturbed my spirit watching that movie as a young kid. Now, the only reason I watched the movie was because, in the hood, we got all these bootleg DVDs around. So I heard of a movie with Master P in it. I'm a big fan of P. So I want to see a movie with Master P up in there. Little did I know, Master P was a vile, heinous dude in the movie. He was just, he was ruthless in the movie, right? But I never knew that scene or nothing was in that film. And yo, man, like DeAndre Bonds is the character who was assaulted in the movie. Like in the movie, he gets assaulted by his cellmate on his first day in prison. And from that point on, he becomes a sex slave for this Nazi. He's like a Nazi white supremacist cellmate. He's a white supremacist dude that's assaulting DeAndre Bonds over and over again. Right? The stuff is so disgusting. At one point, DeAndre Bonds is like, you don't see it or nothing, but you just see the shadowy figures of the people, of them in the cell. And it's a shadowy figure of DeAndre Bonds performing oral, on his cellmate, right? And DeAndre Bonds I watched an interview way back, like about 5-6 years ago, with DeAndre Bonds explaining how he hated doing them scenes, right? He hated that. And he was like, in the scene, he was nowhere near the guy and all of that. The camera angles made it look like they were close to each other when the shadowy figures and all that, you could act like he was performing, on the dude and all of that. And he was like, after he did that grape scene, he cried, right? He cried away from everybody. And he said he did not want to do the scene at all, but he had already signed on to do the movie. And when he signed on to do the movie, I guess he could not tell them no after being already in the contract for the film or something like that. And in my mind, I said, oh, hell no, man. Like, when you see DeAndre Bonds talking about this movie, you can see, like, the pain in his eyes when he discusses doing that film. And I'm here to tell y'all this. If something don't sit right in your spirit, do not do it. Do not do it. If it don't sit right in your spirit, if it feel like just uncomfortable, if it doesn't feel right within yourself, do not do it. That's God's way of telling you this is not something that you should be participating in at all. If it don't settle right within you, leave it alone, right? And he said he just felt like it disturbed him doing that. You know, playing that role disturbed him in a major way. And I'm like, I know it did. I bet it did. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, when you see how that brother, because after that, the brother ended up going to jail for unaliving his auntie's boyfriend after his auntie's boyfriend attacked him, like unprovoked, just came and attacked him after he pulled up playing loud music for no reason, right? And even though he had all these people vouch for his character and these eyewitnesses that said, yo, he was attacked, it was all in self-defense, he still ended up going to jail for manslaughter. They gave him like 11 years, and he had to do like 85% of that. You know, and I felt like after that movie, maybe a dark cloud was over him. And I'm not saying the movie role led to his auntie's boyfriend attacking him and all of that, and, you know, but I don't know, man, like he went through a lot of trauma after doing that role, you know, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But I do feel like when something is unsettling in your spirit, you just should leave it alone. Leave it alone. No matter if you gotta, and I know it's easy to say this now, right? Because you can get sued for not going through with a film, all this, all of that. But if something don't sit right with you, sometimes you gotta stick to your convictions because you can sleep better at night and stick to your morals and principles. Don't deviate from your values because that man regrets that to this day. When you see him talk about and he, you know, he was doing his thing in the movie industry, all of that. And, you know, he was slated to be an Antwone Fisher. He talked about it. He was going to be an Antwone Fisher. He was going to play the role of Antwone Fisher's best friend who got unalived in the movie while robbing a store, right? He was going to be alongside Denzel Washington. He spoke about when all the stuff happened, when he was, you know, getting sentenced and when he was on the trial for unaliving his auntie's boyfriend, and he had all these character witnesses. He said Denzel Washington wrote a letter as a character, like vouching for his character, all these other people and everything. He was on a trajectory to have a great career, and it's just like everything crumbled. And he kind of felt like after that happened, it was just like a domino effect of things happening. But even before that, though, I believe he had got shot, I believe. But anyway, though, when I watched that brother talk about that, I'm like, yo, because there's no way I could ever do that there's no way I could ever do that scene or no scenes like that at all. I cannot do that. It's not going to sit right in my spirit. And you shouldn't do it if it don't sit right in your spirit. There's been times, y'all, where I've been at functions or I've been at an event or a game or party or something like that, and I feel like I need to get up out of here. And I listen to that voice in my head telling me, I gotta go. I gotta go. I've been at parties and I've been at sporting events, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta get up. Something telling me, get up out of here. Something gonna go left up in here. Leave immediately. And y'all, twice some stuff went left after I left the function. Seriously, right? So I've always been one to follow that voice in my head telling me, you need to go. You need to get up out of here. Something don't feel right. Something don't feel like you need to be in that environment. Leave. I don't care what nobody say about you. People call you all type of names, call you a punk, whatever. You know, don't do it. And in the instance of DeAndre Bonds, somebody have you doing something against your moral integrity. Somebody have you in a position where it's like going against who you are or against your character. Don't do it. Some would say it's just acting, but if it don't feel right in your soul, nah, it ain't just acting. There's no way I could play a role like that. There's no way I could play any type of PDF file or anything like that. I could never do nothing like that. There's no way, and some people can say they can do it. It's just certain stuff. when you know it goes against who you are and goes against how you feel internally, nah, deviate away from it. And I've been like this, and I was like in my teenage years, and that's just due to me growing up in the hood and growing up around, different agents of chaos and elements of chaos. You realize, nah, I need to separate myself from this. DeAndre Bonds, he was like, yo, in his mind, he wished he would have separated himself from that. He wished he would have never done that scene. He wished he could erase that off of him, And the brother seems like a really good brother and a real cool brother when seeing him in interviews and all of that. Even when he talks about unaliving his auntie's boyfriend, even though it was in self-defense, he don't boast about it. He don't brag about it. Nothing. Right? He like, yo, I wish it never would have happened. He seemed really apologetic about that, even though he was just defending himself from an assault from somebody that he didn't do anything to. He just pulled up playing loud music, and his auntie's boyfriend was having a bad day, and he chose to just come after him and attack him in that instance. And I'm like, man, but when you see that brother, when you watch how his eyes look talking about doing that scene in Lockdown, it's just like, man, that stuff, man, it just is horrible to even like that movie. It's such a dark scene, and it's just so, it's just so vile. Like, I can only imagine that happening to people in real life. He just was doing a movie role, right? And just imagine it happening to somebody in real life. That's why I don't like to joke about men being assaulted and things like that. It's not a funny thing to me. Because when I saw that movie, man, a lot of people saw that movie and they like, yo, I never want to go to jail in my life. That movie can be used as a scared straight tactic for a lot of young boys who think they're going to be ripping and running in the street. When I saw that movie and I saw that, I say, there's no way in hell I could be in jail when you got sadistic folks like this up in here. Sick and sadistic people up in there like that. There's no way. You got people in there like that acting as predators and vile, disgusting human beings like that. And this is how, that's just regular, everyday life for some people in jail. Preying on folks sexually, preying on folks as it pertains to just extorting them, all of that. Like, yeah. But the moral of this video is don't do anything that goes against your integrity and your values. That don't sit right. Anything that don't sit right in your spirit is not for you. And that is God's way of telling you, leave it alone. Get away from it. Listen to their voice in your head, in your heart, and you'll be okay after that, man. Listen to their voice telling you you shouldn't do it. Listen to it. Listen to that voice. Because it's telling you that for a reason. You're hearing that voice for a reason. Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out, y'all. Peace.